coach-captain combination that we can think of at Punjab was KL Rahul and Anil Kumble. But they had a dismissal 37% win rate. Today they have the hottest T20 captain as their skipper in Shreyas Iyer, right? And Ricky Ponting is probably the best available coach over there. And I hope they just retain it. If they want to now achieve status of a legacy team.
In power play, the impact of opening batsman has become so important. Earlier there used to be like 40 runs in 6 overs. Now teams are scoring 80, 90 runs. How do you think has it evolved over the years,
So one of these combinations was very successful was David Warner and Shikhar Dhawan. Explosive. And Duplessis and Kohli also did this. Kohli used to play the steady anchor role and Duplessis was the aggressor. They used to achieve a strike rate of about 140. So from 125 during the Tendulkar era, it went up to about 140 in this hybrid era. 14 to 21. And now today what we see is the impact era. The torchbearers of that are again the Sunrisers Hyderabad. And it is Abhishek Sharma and Travis Head, right? They started that explosive batting over there. And now there is Suryavanshi and Jaiswal doing it over there. Prabh, Simran and Arya doing it at Kings 11 Punjab. And that is why these teams are more successful than the other teams. So, great impact.
So you mean to say a batsman like Sachin Tendulkar is irrelevant in today's time?
T20 has just taken it to the next level. How will he?
Hi Samir. Today let's focus on how the opening batters have evolved all through the IPL. Like Vaibhav Suryavanshi scoring 36 ball 100. Before this, it used to be like, a single batsman like Chris Gale who used to score like, 40, 50 ball 100. But now it's become 30 ball. So if you see over the 18 years of IPL, there have been a lot of openers who have changed the way, IPL, the opening batting used to be, batsmen used to play. But now it's become like, in power play, the impact of opening batsmen has become so important. They play such a crucial role in teams' final total. Like earlier, there used to be like 40 runs in 6 overs. Now teams are scoring 80, 90 runs. And openers are playing a very vital role in that. So do you think it's become an impact role now?
Oh, absolutely, Ronald. I just love this topic. I just like the segments that we've started. You and I, to tell the audience, we take up a topic, we post it across to each other and see whether we can do an episode on this. Okay. And then, the research that comes up and then, our other contributing research team, whatever they throw up, it's fascinating, right? When you told me about this, there was a theory all those years back in 2008-9 when I was working at the ICL. The great Dean Jones, who was known to have revolutionized one-day cricket batting, right? Yeah. With him, I had done an article at that point of time that batting positions are irrelevant in T20 cricket. So I feel that basically your top three, your best batsmen, irrespective of what positions they have in Test cricket or long format cricket, should be batting at the top three positions, right? And this has been proven time and again. But what has happened in that also is the way these batsmen approach the game. Like, we've seen the Virat Kohli interview a few days back and, the self-awareness that he's built. The T20 cricket has evolved further and I have to evolve my batting further. What you gave an example of Suryavanshi. His strike rate last season, I'm not taking this season, he's already, how many? He scored 1 century already, right? In this season.
2 centuries.
2 centuries in this season and 1 last season. Year. So wow, man, 3 centuries already in T20 cricket. And his strike rate last year, if we take a whole season, I'm not taking his strike rate this year. I'm sure this year also it will be the same. It's 200 plus. Yeah. We haven't heard of these kind of things earlier. Chris Gale would do it on and off once in a while. So, in T20 cricket, the most important position is those two opening batsmen and whoever comes one down, correct? And then the rest of them will just play a correction role if you lose wickets up front early. And then there is a finisher, right? That's how we've classified T20 batting as. And those two top guys are basically the openers, are the most impactful. I agree with you completely over there. So, and the way they are approaching the game is fascinating. So, as we dwell further into the subject, I'll tell you how we've done something across IPL, right from the inception of IPL to present day,
Correct.
how that opening batting has evolved. And the examples you give are correct. Suryavanshi is the way forward for.
Yeah.
I'm not a big fan though of this kind of cricket because I feel it's too skewed towards the batsman. But then that's the norm. That's the norm. And to throw one important stats which even you are aware of. So it's irrespective. So we'll give you the win percentages and all when we discuss this further. But all I'll tell you is at the moment, if you score 60 runs in the first 4 overs or even the first 6 overs, the impact, which are called the power play overs, that will have a greater impact on the result of the match than, you steadily scoring 8 runs an over, at probably 10 overs mark, you are 80 for no loss. That has no less relevance in the result on the result of the match than, upfront going up and scoring at 12 to 13 runs an over in the power play. So that is how ODI batting has evolved over the years.
Last
Very
week,
fascinating.
we saw 2 teams chase down 200.
Yeah, Punjab did it in the first match, right?
Correct.
And they were chasing a target of 230 or something.
Correct.
And not for one moment you thought that they were not around the figure of chasing that target, And it's all because of their explosive opening.
Exactly.
I think their opening partnership is the most explosive at the moment,
Yeah.
right? Prabh, Simran and Priyansh, Arya. They are the most explosive over there. I don't know what they were chasing, 230 plus. After that, KL Rahul 150.
Yeah.
They chased it down easily. And I was watching the match continuously. Never once did you feel that it was beyond their reach. Impossible.
So it all comes down to the opening partnership,
Yes,
how
yes.
they
Yeah.
score in the power play.
Yeah.
And then it helps the later batsmen
Yes.
to come and play freely without pressure of the run rate. So how do you think has it evolved over the years,
Okay, so we did an analysis of that, and I'll break it down into 3 different periods.
Okay.
So let's take the first period as between 2008 and 13. The dominant opening batsman at that point of time, we've identified it as the anchor era. Okay, one of the opening batsmen used to anchor the innings.
Correct.
The sheet anchor role that we also, which basically evolved from ODI cricket, right? That player over there would play the 50 overs. He was very impactful. So those guys were people like Sachin Tendulkar, Jack Callis, Gautam Gambhir. Again, another nowadays kids know him as that great coach, but then he was also a phenomenal opening batsman in white ball cricket, especially for India. But if you see that 2008 to 13 period, an average strike rate for the openers used to be about 125. In today's times, I think none of them will survive the way the T20 cricket is played. Then somewhere between 2014 and 21, and it started with the Sunrisers Hyderabad, which was led by David Warner.
Okay.
And he was also instrumental in this. So it was called a hybrid era, the hybrid opening partnership. In that hybrid opening partnership, what they did was they basically, one fellow took charge and the other fellow played the steady anchor role. So one of these combinations was very successful was David Warner and Shikhar Dhawan.
Okay.
So Gaurav Karla, that journalist at CNN, IBN and all, right, he had coined that term David Dhawan of cricket. So, explosive. Then the same guys over there in that hybrid era, another opening pair that you can think of is Johnny Bairstow and Warner. But that didn't last too long, but they also got equal success for the Sunrisers team. And Duplessis and Kohli also did this.
Yeah.
So Duplessis, when Duplessis joined RCB, and then Kohli used to play the steady anchor role, and Duplessis was the aggressor.
Correct.
So that happened, and there, they used to achieve a strike rate of about 140. So from 125 during the Tendulkar era, it went up to about 140 in this hybrid era, 14 to 21. And now today, what we see is the impact era. So in this, the torchbearers of that are again the Sunrisers Hyderabad, and it is Abhishek Sharma and Travis Head, right? They started that explosive batting over there, and now there is Suryavanshi and Jaiswal doing it over there. Prabh, Simran and Arya doing it at Kings 11 Punjab, and that is why these teams are more successful than the other teams. So great impact, and to just give you this, the statistics, what came out from our internal research was whenever the strike rate in the power play or this thing is over 160, then the team wins 68% of the matches. When the strike rate falls below 130, and irrespective of how many runs you score, right? Maybe you had a 100-run partnership, but if that strike rate is below 130, the strike rate, I mean to say 130, then 45% is only the win strike rate. So you'll lose 55% of the matches, 43. So the way forward is these kind of opening combinations. Sharma, Travis Head, Suryavanshi, Jaiswal, Prabh, Simran, Arya. And that's why these teams are doing well. So that's the impact that openers have. And that's the way opening batting has evolved. I hope our viewers, would like this narration of how T20 opening batting has evolved, especially in the IPL. And I think this has got a lot to do also with that impact player rule, right?
Correct.
You have the buffer of one more player. So I don't think it's going to be as explosive when T20 internationals are played, because there is no impact player rule.
Correct.
But here, of course, naturally.
So your stats are based on your prediction, or your narration is based on averages? Or do you think averages are no more considered as a,
I'll just tell you, Ron, in terms of averages, right? So, while doing this, I also tried to analyze who are the most impactful opening batsmen across this thing.
Okay.
And if we just juxtapose it with today's Abhishek Sharma, Priyansh, Arya, Prabh, Simran, and Jaiswal and Suryavanshi, then maybe and Travis Head, we may not be able to do justice. But let me just give you a narration and just see how many of them can still survive in today's form of opening batting in T20. So Dhawan and Warner, they used to score at an average of about 48. Their opening partnership average in their combination, as a combination for Sunrisers Hyderabad, which is very, very healthy, right, for T20 cricket, 48. Then Bairstow and Warner, though it was not a long period, they were also extremely explosive. Bairstow is, I think, one player because of the presence of Butler, and Butler also going on to become the captain. So I think his impact is not felt as much, but I think he was one of the most explosive T20 batsmen in the world. And if not only T20, but even other formats of white ball cricket like ODI. They, for Sunrisers, averaged about 58. All right. Then Chris Gayle and Kohli did not bat too much, because Kohli preferred batting at one down. So though they were explosive at RCB, they had the partnership, but then they also averaged about 48, but they didn't open for too long. Gayle opened with somebody else, but Kohli usually used to bat one down. Another significant opening partnership that didn't long to last was at our favorite team, Lucknow Super Giants. So they hold the record, I think. So Decode and KL Rahul, they have the highest opening partnership record, I think, to them, 210 runs.
Okay.
Which is phenomenal, but I'd be very surprised if they won even that match. That's how T20, but they must have won that match though. And then Gaikwad and Devin Conway, they also played a very, very important role in all those CSK wins. They averaged about 50 when they were both in good form. Pale shadow of how they play nowadays, right? But these are all based on averages. So what is interesting is when even our team was, because we gave them the mandate, our research team, the mandate to find out impactful players across seasons. So for them, the focal point was averages. But today these averages don't matter, because then came the startling realization for us that strike rate is far, far more important in the result for a team as compared to, say, averages. Averages is incidental. What is consequential is basically the strike rate.
Correct.
That's the evolution of T20 cricket and T20 opening batting.
So you mean to say a batsman like Sachin Tendulkar is irrelevant in today's time?
If he plays in that kind of there is still, what you see with Kohli, what you see with KL Rahul, and great batsmen these are, right, across formats. But T20 has just taken it to the next level, So how will he? Means, do you think Tendulkar would ever throw caution away and not
No,
play
exactly.
circumspect of this thing? That's why you see some of the matches also, they scuttle off 2-3 wickets fall early and all that stuff. I somewhere feel that the British got it wrong. They never complete a story completely, right? They ruled the world, but they leave their mess behind somewhere. They left it with partition in India. Uh, um and they even T20 cricket, which they developed. What they should have done is they should have allowed 11 aside, but what they should have allowed was only 8 batsmen. That would have made it more circumspect. That would have made it a more even contest between bat and ball. Nowadays, I think for the bowler, there is just nothing, right? Because see, all that the batsman has to do is go and take charge and just wait for one loose ball. And if he actually connects two boundaries in an over, so he's not looking at an over to play out an over. He's looking at 6 balls, 6 opportunities to score boundaries. Out of which, if he gets 2 or 3, the total is suddenly 10, 12, 13 runs. So I don't know. I'm not a big fan, but this is how T20 cricket has evolved. Yeah.
Samir, talking about cricket played earlier, teams used to look at two main pace bowlers up front, like Wasim Akram, Waqar Yunus. In India, Jawahar Srinath, Venkatesh Prasad, Alan Donald, Sean Paul. Do you think thinking has changed now? Rather than having a pace bowling attack, they are looking for openers, impactful openers. The thinking has changed. Rather than having a good pace attack, now teams are looking for
I don't know, Ron, but still, Jasprit Bumrah is very, very relevant, right? He may be little wicketless in the IPL, but that's because of a strategic decision that the team management has taken, where he's not opening the bowling. When he opens the bowling, then it becomes a different ball game. But I don't know. All I'll say is that in T20 cricket, batsmen will win you matches, but the tournament will be won by bowlers only.
That's a good point.
It will be very interesting to see the 3 big boys from Australia are now in contention at IPL, right? Hazelwood, Stark is expected, and Cummins is already here. How also they perform will be very, very important. But in that yesterday's match, Rajasthan Royals. Oh my God! You should have seen the fire that Jofra Archer was breathing down. One of the most unlucky spells, and he was going at about 10 runs an over. I don't know what his final figures were. Oh boy, but he was rattling those Sunrisers, but it does not show in the results. So I think the relevance will be there, but yes, the game is it's very unfortunate.
For the bowlers, you mean to say?
Absolutely. And he was very good yesterday. He was everybody was in trouble, right from Ishan Kishan to our young boy whose own pace is increasing nowadays. We did a story on him which is getting very, very popular. Nitish Kumar Reddy. And when he was batting, you'll see his score and very good score, but he was completely rattled by Jofra Archer. And couple of dropped catches also. The fielding has not been great at the IPL.
Yeah, exactly. A lot of dropped catches.
I don't know whether the lights or some of these domestic players are not used to playing under lights or something like that. But then there are a lot of dropped catches. That's also affecting a lot of the scores. What is happening over there?
And now teams are going for a maximum score in the power play rather than targeting 180, 190. Their main focus is on maximizing the power play. So do you think that good start, when we used to say good start in the earlier days, when it used to be like, 10 overs, 90 runs, but now it's changed, like in 6 overs only team looks to score 80,
because
90.
Ronnie, the stats is like that, right? I threw up the stats to you. When you score at over 160 strike rate, especially in that very, very important power play zone, you're winning 68% of the matches. Otherwise, when, you're winning only 45%, though you may be batting steadily, you may be scoring about 70-80 runs in the first 10 overs, but that does not result in a big total.
Correct.
The difference between a 170, 180 total and a 220, 240 total is correlated to how you are batting in the power play.
Correct.
That late surge, that has happened.
Exactly, slow overs and all.
Hardik Pandya, that is not happening anymore. Now those guys are just coming and finishing it off. Even the
Correct.
Rinku Singhs and all. Of course, he played an important role the other day when they upset Rajasthan Royals. Like we'd call it an upset because KKR the way
Correct.
they are in Rajasthan, and Rinku Singh played a role in that. But that is too far few and between. Like the MS Dhoni finishing off a match, that is not happening. Now it's like 1 over, 2 overs. They come and they finish off the match.
So it comes down to
but
the
it all comes down to the power play.
you mean to say how the opening batsman pairs
Yes.
perform in the power play.
Yeah. Means there is not much to differentiate at the end of end overs.
Correct.
Everything it depends on how the power play thing go.
So earlier there used to be 160, 180 used to be the winning score.
Yeah.
Now even 200 is at par.
No, but
score.
that's what I covered.
So
that
you see, you think like with the T20 evolving, 200 will be a par score? Will be a chaseable score going
I
forward?
don't know. I don't feel that can be the possibility in the international cricket. That's because of the impact player rule.
But
I
in
think
IPL it's possible.
in the IPL it is possible because you have that buffer of that extra batsman. Correct. That is making quite a bit of the difference. That's allowing these guys also to go for all out broke, as we call it, right? In the first 6 overs.
Cricket is becoming one-dimensional, like batting dominated. Like everything is about batting.
Yeah, I
Bowlers-
told you there's somewhere two decisions, right? One, when England formulated for 20 overs, they should have just allowed 8 batsmen instead of 11. That would have made it an even contest between bat and ball. Very radical today to think about it. Or I am looking at some kind of an international coach who comes and great coaches are great bowling coaches. They know how to defend totals. Correct. So Shane Warne was a great T20 captain. Of course, his T20 career is confined to the IPL.
Yeah.
And he was a great because, there was a stats about Rajasthan Royals at one point of time when he was a captain that if they put up 150, he would be able to defend it with his bowling and fielding placements. I want to look at somebody, a coach or someone who outthinks all this. He's somewhere a coach who uses a bowling arsenal which will scuttle these batsmen because this is not just normal cricket.
Exactly.
They just go all out broke. There is no respect for any bowler, nothing. It's just all out broke. It just looks so easy for the batsman. It's just uncomparable to anything that has happened before in cricket.
Exactly.
So two things to it that why we see this explosive kind of batting. One is because, as I told you, 11 batsmen are far too many for 20 overs.
Correct.
So you can take all the risk. There's somebody still left behind. And second is the impact player rule that we have in the IPL.
Interesting, you brought up Shane Warne.
Yeah.
Do you think Shane Warne in this era he would have managed to defend 200?
I don't know who is going to come up with the next solution, right? You'd suspect some of the Pakistanis, but the Pakistan cricket and the Pakistan establishment is not there.
Correct.
Right? All those years back, they used to have those crafty bowlers and all that stuff, and then you think that somebody like that. I think somebody in Australia should come up with something like that, or something may come up in the IPL only. The amount of T20 cricket that we in India play, but then it is handicapped by that impact player rule.
Correct.
I was a fan of the impact player rule because it allowed more, it brought dynamism to the game.
Yeah.
But it's not helping the bowler's cause. It's helping the batsman's cause. I thought it will help the bowlers. It will help the bowlers rest. It will help you to use 5 specialist bowlers instead of, using 4 bowlers and 1 all-rounder who can bowl a bit or 2 all-rounders who can bowl a bit. But what is happening is you have the luxury of an extra batsman which is bringing all these 220, 230 scores and 500 runs scored in 40 overs, man. Means cricket is really changing fast.
Yeah.
I don't know what all we are going to see in this lifetime. So,
And talking about teams,
Yeah.
KKR and Punjab.
Yeah. So we are today taking KKR and Punjab.
Exactly.
Last week we took up the 3 legacy teams, right? Yeah. So very interesting. I like the idea when you took it up. There is one more similarity with them. Both are run by Bollywood kind of personalities over there.
And chopping and changing is their mantra.
Yes.
And it always has been.
Ron, earlier when we started, and I will not mince my words, I'll tell you, I was a little critical of both the KKR and the Punjab, and I've asked it to some of our expert guests also over here, right? Whether, and it's something that the IPL needs to see. At one end, you have teams like the Mumbai Indians and the CSK, which work at grassroots level, development of the player. They believe in loyalty with the player. They groom a player. They believe in long-term association with a player, and that is not being incentivized by the IPL.
Correct.
Because every 3 years you are asking the IPL to go into the mega auction. I think all those years back, that mega auction where Mumbai Indians had to release Harbhajan Singh and Ambati Rayudu.
Correct.
I don't think they would have wanted to do that.
Exactly.
Correct? If the choice was possible. They gave two of their very precious jewels, and CSK picked them up, and then the reversal happened, and then people started complaining that why did Mumbai? But Mumbai also could not. How many players can they retain?
Exactly.
So you are not incentivizing teams that are basically working on development. While if you are in that IPL auction system where you are allowed, where you get a larger purse if you don't retain that many players, and then you refurbish your teams every year, and of course it's not worked for KKR, it has worked for Punjab, but it has not worked consistently for Punjab. What will be very important is today they have the hottest T20 captain as their skipper in Shreyas Iyer, right? And Ricky Ponting is probably the best available coach over there. Has worked wonders for them. But don't be too surprised if at the next mega auction they dismantle this whole setup. Correct? And then they'll still make a comeback. Another 7 years down the line, they may not do well for 3 years, and then at the next mega auction they will again buy a great team, great coach, and so it allows you a chance to. It incentivizes chopping and changing.
Correct.
Especially in case of Punjab, which today looks the best T20 team.
But that has come after a long time. After almost 19 years, they got a team, like last season.
No, but in 2014, again, they had done the same thing. They had built a great team under Sanjay Bangar, Glenn Maxwell. That time, I think even our Delhi captain today, Patel, what's his name? Akshar Patel. Akshar Patel was part of that team. A young Vridhiman Saha was part of the team. That was a great team which reached the finals, that lost to KKR at that point of time. And they could not. At the other end, also KKR has been penalized because of this chopping and changing, right? Because KKR could have easily been one of the legacy teams. Exactly. They are a legacy teams in terms of their in terms of the titles, because they are next only to Mumbai and CSK in terms of titles. 5 and KK. These guys are 3. But you gave up the captain who won you the last IPL. When was the last time you saw somebody do that? So they faced a reversal. That's why they are not. I don't consider them to be a legacy team. Like, they're not in the same league today as CSK, RCB and MI. Though, RCB and MI and CSK today in this edition are finding reversal, but they'll find their way back. But you can't take away the legacy from them when you compare them across seasons. KKR, chopping, changing, and right from the beginning, I don't know whether these Bollywood kinds, they see it as a script. They want to do something hatke, that's one word that they use, right? Script hatke. So right from, you remember John Buchanan also, that Australian coach, he had that theory of 4 captains and all that, and that created such harakari. I think they achieved, so if we deep dive into it, let me just give you this thing, okay? So at the moment, Ponting and Iyer are achieving, one season, I won't take this season, but they're achieving about 55% win rate.
This season they are.
So last week also we said any captain who is doing a 51 plus percentage of win rate is doing a good job, So they are doing 55. Before that, the only significant coach captain combination that we can think of at Punjab was KL Rahul and Anil Kumble. Okay. But they had a dismissal 37% win rate. Okay. And that tells you that this is the best thing that could have happened to them, the Ponting-Iyer combination. And I hope they just retain it till, not only the next mega auction, but, the continuity has to be there. If they want to now achieve status of a legacy team. Correct? At the other end, KKR, right? They won in 12 and 14. Correct? So
and 24.
And 24 was later. This was under Gautam Gambhir. And Trevor Bayliss. Trevor Bayliss was a good coach. He went on to also help England win the ODI World Cup, right? they had a 57% victory rate. And they were very, very. But then some of the other combinations that they use, Morgan McCullum, looks very, very fancy, all aggressive and all. And Morgan was a good captain for England, probably the best white ball captain that was
World
possible.
Cup winner with England.
But that didn't work. Then, they put in a lot of faith between Dinesh Karthik and Callis. But even that was around 50%. But that was a good team. They were knocking into the playoffs and all. But they did not stick on to it, right? Then they let go of Surya Kumar Yadav, they let go of a lot of the other players, and some of their West Indian finds like Sunil Narain and Russell were also, they were not as effective as they were in the earlier editions. They were also in the dusk of their career. So all that has compounded for KKR. I think they should have never let go of Chandrakant Pandit, so they need correction. Probably, and that can only happen at the next. I hope they have learned from their mistakes. Okay. So, a team that very, very close came to being called a legacy team. They play at a very important ground in a very important city, right? Correct. Eden Gardens and Kolkata. The fans are very, very passionate. Yep. So, it's a big team. But the performance at the moment does not justify them as a legacy team.
Correct. You spoke about auction. Mumbai Indians in the current situation, they must be waiting for the auction to come, right? To release some players and get in fresh.
I don't know. I don't think Mumbai Indians has ever been great at the auction. They've been a team that has always worked on development and this thing. And see, this is something that the IPL needs to understand. And I'll ask you the larger question. Whether these auctions are relevant anymore if you want... teams that you want to incentivize teams that work at grassroots levels, that work with domestic players, they help in development of players, etc. The two teams that come to mind are Mumbai and CSK. Yeah. And the way T20 cricket is evolving, it seems that your systems are more incentivizing teams like Punjab Kings, and maybe next year KKR will get two hotshot players and they'll be back in reckoning. They'll be the next Punjab Kings, and that's not a good thing. That's not a good thing. And I think somewhere that mega auction thing has to go off. The retention of the players has to be allowed, First right of refusal of the entire team. Exactly. You can't be dismantling a team. Cricket is a team sport, They try to do that to make it equitable. Yeah, exactly. But don't do it artificially. So, I'm glad that you took these two teams together. They are facing very contrasting times at IPL 2026. One is
at the top of the table.
But the larger question is for the IPL governing council, who do you want to incentivize?
But there is no innovation kind of thing in IPL.
It is, because they're still continuing. That auction was good for the first few years. It was about vanity. It was about also giving that public image to, for all, it was a high, right, for all these IPL franchisee owners to go there and buy the best cricketers in the world, flaunt your money. It's not working anymore, because after all, what finally counts for the fans and for people who are engaged with the IPL? It is performance. Okay. And for performance, I don't think auction is the best format, It disincentivizes. I feel very sorry for a team like Mumbai Indians, They are unable to... see, because when they are retaining the kind of players they are retaining, they are giving the maximum number of players to the Indian team. Correct. So what is happening is... and there's another larger question, right, Ronald? We did that in the last episode when we were deep diving into Mumbai Indians. And we said that... Rohit Sharma, the Indian captain, was far more efficacious than Rohit Sharma, the Mumbai Indians captain. And we give our reasons. That the Indian job is a very time-consuming and must be a strenuous job for somebody. And then to go and manage another IPL team is not humanly possible. Only MS Dhoni did that. So I leave that point for you to ponder and for also our fans. If suppose Shreyas Iyer, as they are reckoning, is the next hotshot Indian captain, will a Punjab Kings 11 be happy if he becomes the Indian captain? Because if he becomes the Indian captain, that will of course distract his attention from Punjab Kings. So Punjab Kings has all to lose if Shreyas is appointed as the next captain. That is, the transfer, the contrasting worlds of franchise cricket and international cricket. This is the world we live in. And we thought, probably let's bring it to light and, enlighten also our viewers about this facet of cricket. interesting times, very, very interesting times.
That was very fascinating, Samir.
Yeah.
Thanks for the.
So I hope you had fun with this,
Yeah,
Ronald.
this was
This was good fun,
quite
and
insightful.
I hope we can find one more such deep dive story that we can do about the IPL in this IPL
Sure,
season. So we did one with legacy teams.
Yeah.
We did today one with the impact of opening batsmen,
Correct.
and two teams with do a lot of chopping and changing.
Correct.
And who've had contrasting results at the IPL 2026.
Correct.
But let's see what we come up with. What our research team throws at us for the next week. So, people, if you liked what you saw, then do share, subscribe, and build a community. It helps us to propagate such innovative stories. It's differentiated content. I'm sure you've not heard this kind of stories anywhere else. We'd be surprised if you've done. We try to give a different take to how the IPL functions at the moment. T20 cricket is evolving at a pace that cricket has not seen such kind of metamorphosis since a long time. So very interesting times. If you liked what you saw today, then do share, subscribe, and help propagate this forward. It helps us to bring this kind of differentiated content to you. Thank you.